All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another television series review. Going to do a throwback for this one to one of my favorite series growing up that I've recently kind of rediscovered via Netflix. Thank you, Netflix. And that is for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Oh man! So yeah, spoiler warning if you haven't seen Buffy pretty much all the way through. And this is tell the story. Trev, why are you reviewing Buffy the Vampire Slayer? So this is why. So I've been watching Netflix because Netflix is awesome, right? And I've been going through some of the series. And so my wife found Buffy the Vampire Slayer in kind of our suggested, because the stuff I like to watch it kind of suggested through, right? And she never seen it. Like, I mean, not even like one episode. She'd never seen it. So I was like, oh, you got to check it out. You got to watch it because, I kind of had a faint memory of it, but it was sort of one where I hadn't seen it for so many years, for so long. Literally, this series started in 1997 and it finished in 2003. So it ran 7 seasons through. And man, when it was on, I remember Buffy and Angel being like 2 of the biggest series on TV for that age group. If you were in that demographic where in the late 90s you were either in high school or maybe early college, because there are a few seasons here where they're actually have transitioned into college. It was a great series. It was a big series to watch, and it was so kind of unique for what it was. So watching it again back now, I haven't seen every episode all the way through because, let's be honest here, there are a lot of episodes of this series, 144 run episodes, and each one was an hour block with commercials. So this is one of the longest running series. Even though it's 7 seasons, that's 144 episodes. So that's a lot of episodes to go through. And as much as you love to binge things on Netflix, yeah, it's a lot. So I haven't gone through and watched absolutely every single episode again. But we've gone through, a good number of them. She's loved to watch them after I recommended it and kind of give me her thoughts on it. And she likes it a lot too. Now, there are some episodes with them doing so many, there are a lot of episodes that aren't that good, right? There are quite a few episodes of the series that really weren't that good, even for their time. And of course, it has aged a bit. The series has aged. But it is a fun show because it mixes in kind of, that sort of teenage romance, I want to say, right? In addition to kind of that coming of age type of story that has been kind of retold so many times of high school and then first year college and this kind of deal as you're kind of going through growing up and all the different themes that they kind of tackle, VI monsters, demons, and vampires as the series kind of goes through. And but it was really fun, man. I mean, this one in 97, so I was 11 years old when this series started, and then of course with it running those 7 years or so, by the time it ended, I was I myself kind of had dropped out of the show around, I want to say, once I personally finished high school. I wasn't really watching it when I went off to college. I was first year of college. I was drunk like every day, or at least 2 or 3 days a week minimum, right? So I kind of fell out on it, at some point through this run, because it was a massive run at 22 episodes a season. But going back and watching some of these episodes of the series, it has its episodes that are kind of ridiculous. The first season starts out, and they had a really low budget for the first season. I've kind of looked this one up just to kind of see how it was, and the show really didn't seem like it was going to succeed. It was kind of a fill-in for another show. And of course, it just became very, very popular, at the point where at its peak, you have episodes here that are at that time, getting over like 7 million views, US viewers per episode. So, you had Buffy in like season 3 and late season 2, just absolutely killing it, of course, which is why they kind of added on Angel, I want to say, that they felt like they could make another successful series well, too, which had a 5-season run and did a pretty damn good job as well, too. So the first season, pretty good. I felt like it hit kind of its stride in probably the 2nd, 3rd, and maybe 4th season. And then the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th, I feel like it kind of started. The 5th was the 5th was good too. But then it kind of started to kind of run out of steam, I think, in season 6 and season 7. There's a part there where, spoiler warning, they like kill her and then they bring her back to life and everything. And they brought in Dawn, her little sister, who was, to me, infinitely always just super annoying, and I never I never liked the character. It always just annoyed the hell out of me. It was kind of a Carl stay in the house kind of character, right? If compared to Walking Dead terms, right? So, yeah, man. But there's some really good episodes here that I suggest if you got Netflix and you want to watch, just with some kind of fun ones. One of which is Hush. That's season 4. Episode 10, directed by Josh Whedon, written by Josh Whedon. Of course, he's the creator, on the show, writer on the show, and later was given the helm to start up Avengers and everything, first couple Avengers movies. And definitely when you see the series, you can see why, because even though kind of in memory, it's like, I remember that show, the show was silly, everything like that. Of course it is in a lot of ways. They have a lot of comedy kind of mixed in. They have sort of the demonic stuff with the action and the vampires who were really, it made vampires really popular at that time. If you guys remember, then afterwards there was all the junk that kind of killed it, like Twilight and stuff like that kind of took it too far the other way. Took it like, because of course this one has a female lead, so you have Sarah Michelle Gellar playing Buffy, and it kills the movie version. If you've ever seen the movie version, it's way, way better than the movie version. And which, man, I feel like, since then, it's such a shame that this series kind of ended the way it did, and what happened to vampires, because vampires they were cool at that time. Like, it was cool to see them. Now they're not. The Strain did an okay attempt at making some crazy, scary vampires, and Strain was pretty good. But yeah, I mean, if you watch Hush, for example, there's certain episodes here that are absolutely terrifying. Hush is one that I think is excellent. So you have kind of, you have the random different monsters, demons, vampires that kind of come in, and a lot of them have their own kind of their own kind of gimmick, their own kind of style of things they do. So the Hush is the creatures, the scary tall ones that kind of float around. They're like these, they remind me of like doctors that got like scalpels and stuff like that. And nobody is able to speak, so everybody's silent while they go around and kind of have these little, minions and straitjackets hold people down and kind of cut their hearts out while they can't scream, because part of their gimmick is that everyone has been hushed or can't speak, can't say anything. So that's just one example, but there are lots of fun episodes throughout the show. Another one I remember, I'm not sure the name of it, but there's this demon that gets kind of summoned in that sounds like he's so terrifying and everything like that, and then he comes in and he's like this tall, right? So she just like steps on him, and that's the end of the episode, right? So like some really fun stuff. Or the Wish, if you guys have ever seen that, the Wish that Buffy never came to Sunnydale. So as a result, what happens, Cordelia makes a wish and finds out that the girl she's talking to, Anya, is actually a demon, so the wish kind of comes true. And it goes through a really cool kind of scenario where basically it's become kind of a vampire apocalypse in Sunnydale, and pretty much everybody has been turned into a vampire, so nobody's able to go out at night. Everybody has to kind of curfew and everything, and not leave their homes and all that, because the vampires kind of rule the place during that time. And then by the time she does arrive, she's not really the same, and the master actually ends up killing her in that one before they kind of undo it all, and it kind of all goes back to normal. So, very, very nostalgic for me in kind of these late 90s, kind of the style that was out at that time, and the type of tone that the series had, and the way it kind of set things up, where you have kind of, a group that gets together and they kind of help each other out, a good ensemble, led, of course, by Buffy, and then having Angel and Spike and the others kind of in there too, Willow and that. So it is a really fun show. And, it's kind of sad that they weren't able to keep it going more seasons than they did, but they certainly did a ton of episodes, and it's one that, personally, I don't think we'll ever probably see anything for it really again, in terms of, they've done comic books since then. Josh Whedon has done some, like, season 8, I think there's season 9 comic books. I haven't read them myself, but I've seen them, because I'm intrigued to kind of see, like, okay, that could be cool, like, see what happened after kind of the series did end. But I'm always interested to kind of see which series sort of become some of those really breakout hits, and certainly in the early 2000s, late 90s, Buffy was one of those. So very nostalgic for those of us who kind of were in high school around that time. Cool to kind of go back and watch if you kind of want to see that, and just a totally different time where vampires were fun and vampires were cool, and kind of a lighthearted and sometimes, and then other times kind of more horror-based and really scary type of fun series. So it's a lot to go through. You kind of have to give it a try and see what you think about it. But it's a fun role reversal at that time, rather than kind of those horror movies where you have the damsel in distress being chased by whatever vampire, monster, whatever they go with. In this one, it's the opposite. You have the monsters all running, and sometimes comedic fashion, and you have Buffy chasing them, getting ready to stake them down. So really fun series, man. Went back and watched a few episodes. Enjoyed it more than I thought I would, just for kind of the nostalgia. By today's standards, it probably wouldn't work if they were to try to do it kind of the same sort of way. They'd have to revamp it a lot and use a lot more CG and stuff, because some of the monsters and suits kind of remind me of maybe Power Rangers or something like that. At least the ones that are bad. Some of them look really good, such as the dudes in Hush and the demon guys in Hush, and some of the others as well too. So really fun show. I kind of miss it, to be honest with you, and I don't know if I'd ever do a review for Angel, but basically I thought Angel was okay too. I thought it was pretty good too, but I never felt like it was as good as the original, which is usually the case with spin-offs. It's like comparing Fear the Walking Dead to the original Walking Dead, right? The spin-offs or the companion series usually never turn out as good as the original one. But, after a few years, as fast as it kind of came up and it grew to prominence in its fourth and fifth season, I want to say, in some of its best parts there, third, fourth, and fifth, it pretty quickly fizzled out as well, too, after a few more years of doing that many episodes to Chosen, where the series actually ended. Not really on a cliffhanger, though. It had, like, a definitive ending where the whole damn place, like, implodes or is, like, destroyed, and they kind of just get away at the end, or most of them get away. So, in terms of score for Buffy, how do I rate this series? Like, because of how big it became, because it became like a worldwide phenomenon type of series, and it just grew to so big, it's kind of a shame now that it's just kind of buried under the rug, or it's one that you don't really hear about too often. But it certainly was a lot of fun for people during that time in that age group demographic, I think. And also too, like, a great thing about it is you can watch it with your wife or with your girlfriend. You can watch it, like a male or female can watch it, enjoy. Can I say it's more for females? Not really. I think it's for males as well too. Getting to see her go around and kill all the monsters is a lot of fun. Some action and good kind of choreography and things that they did all throughout. And it was a really fun show. So I guess I'll give it 8.8 out of 10. I think that's fair, considering it mixes genres as well, too. It's not so simple to say kind of what genre the series was. Of course, it has the supernatural aspects to it. It has a lot of comedy mixed in, as we discussed. A lot of things going different from how you'd expect. It isn't always kind of that cookie cutter, beats the vampire and always action all the way through sometimes, or beats the villain, always action all the way through. They came up with some really creative ideas and some really good ideas for some episodes here that I thought were great, man. Very creative. So that's what I'm going to give it as kind of a throwback, nostalgic type of review. Let me know what you guys think. If you've ever gone back and kind of checked out the series again, or if it's one that you haven't thought about since, all those years ago, since it ended. If you have access to Netflix, if you're on or you want to sign up for a trial, not a bad idea to go back and check it out if you got some time. It is a fun series to watch with nostalgia, and definitely one you can watch, as a couple, if with your girlfriend or your spouse or whatever, or boyfriend. And that's pretty much all of my thoughts on Buffy. I love the series. It was a great series. It was a lot of fun at that time. Growing up, it was one of my favorites of those. It was pretty much the best that we had in terms of like the live action supernatural type. We didn't have Walking Dead, back in the late 90s or early 2000s, so we got Buffy. That's what we got, right? There's nothing that was that good, so I'm not going to compare the two because we're getting into Walking Dead, but it was a fun series as well, too. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below. How do you feel about this series? Is it one that you watched all the way through? Did you see some of it? And is it one you've ever looked back on kind of nostalgically and thought, man, how good was that show really? Because that was the question for me. Once I saw it, I was like, yeah, I kind of remember watching it. But a lot of it I had kind of forgotten, too, as well, because it's been so long. But once I watched it back, I was like, oh, yeah, man, this show did a lot of things really, really well. And the biggest thing probably tackling those coming-of-age kind of problems, adding in that supernatural aspect to it at the same time. Really well balanced. And I think that's one of the things Joss Whedon does so well, and we saw it in The Avengers, is that he really balances out that ensemble well and has a little bit of everything for everybody. You got the comedy, you got the action and ass-kicking, you got a little bit of romance mixed in there. You really have kind of a nice blend of all these different genres in the same kind of show, and I think that's what Buffy did best, was a really well-balanced, fun series that you could watch, male or female, anybody in that age demographic, or even if you're older or younger, just really fun to check out. So that'll be it for this review for today, guys. Let me know what you think. If you like this kind of review and you want to see more nostalgic series reviews, leave a comment below on which ones, and If you like this video, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it, and you can do it. You can subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for another video. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.